Hi, welcome back to my channel. So today I want to talk about self-care, especially when you're going through something in life, such a separation of your loved one, divorce. Maybe you lost a loved one. Maybe somebody passed away in your life recently, or you're just going through some kind of difficulty. So this video is for you if any of those apply. Self-care is one of those things that usually go out the wayside, especially when we're going through something painful. And, we usually tend to start crying and just like be very upset, very angry. And self-care is one of those things that put helps us put things back into perspective, and it gives us grace and space to take whatever lessons we need to from what we're going through, and then just kind of help us move forward with life, because we get ups and downs in life, and that happens every single day, right? So our through our journey, the I think happiness comes when we learn to understand that those things that are ugly, painful, and whatnot, those things are there to give us a lesson. So we do have an opportunity to learn from it and bounce back as soon as possible so that we can continue with the journey that we're intended to have. So one of the things recently I had a lot of loss. Um, my between my husband and I separating, to my mom and my dad passing away, and a cousin, and my daughter, one of my daughters, totaled my car, and so many different things that happened like back to back to back. One of the I think that's when I got really heavy into self-care, something I didn't do before, and now that it's part of my routine, it's part of what I do every day. No matter what happens now, I kind of bounce back much faster. So one of the things that I do, and I highly recommend, is do some kind of movement, and I don't like to call it exercise. I don't like to call it, anything that will give you like a, oh, I don't want to do that feeling, but just any kind of movement, so that your, blood is basically life, right? And it carries nutrients, and it carries oxygen. And so, I do, for example, usually I do yoga. Oh wow, look at that. I'm getting some kind of glare. That's cute. So I do some, I do yoga just about every day, even if it's just 10 minutes. And it doesn't have to be like, I don't do headstands or anything like that. It doesn't have to be major. It could just be just putting your hands up and then down and breathing, just gentle movements. It could just be swaying. You're standing, strong with your legs, and you just sway side to side. And as you close your eyes and you take a deep breath, it doesn't have to be anything too overcomplicated, too complex. If you have issues, mobility issues, you don't have to be absolutely no pain in yoga. Never any pain in yoga. Maybe a little discomfort if you're stretching a certain way and a muscle is not used to it, but there's no pain in yoga. You can, and it's truly being my lifesaver. And when my mom was dealing, she was fighting cancer, and she was in the hospital for a while. Um, and I would stay in her house, 2 days in her house and 2 days in the hospital. I would take my yoga mat to the hospital, and I would, make sure to do, whatever time I could, at least stretch, stretch and take deep breath. So, but when I stayed at her house every morning, I would wake up early, just to before I would go to the hospital, and I would put the mat on the balcony, and just do some stretches and some, and say, thank you, God, that, I have this space that is mine. Please stay with me. I need you. And it's kind of like a prayer movement. for me, and it truly helped me to deal with my mom's passing and everything that I went through the time, last year. Um, to Puerto Rico, when my dad passed away, I didn't have a mat. But what I did then is that I will go with a very dear friend of mine. We'll go walking in the afternoon, and we'll just talk and walk and walk. And my brothers were like, "You went where?" Because I mean, we end up walking like a long while and just talking, and it was so nice, and that helped me deal with my dad's passing. So movement, some kind of movement, something to get you out of a slump. Something to get the blood moving, and the joints kind of, you know, helps. It helps the joints. It helps everything. So I truly recommend that some kind of movement. Just don't call it whatever. You want to call it exercise, because sometimes I want to run, but it's the bottom line is that you want to move. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, that I would say really helped me a lot through this journey that I've gone through. It's learning to breathe. I know that it sounds silly. Come on, we all breathe, Emil. What are you doing? But learning to breathe really helps a lot. Like breathing deeply and then just letting it go. Even if it's just a minute that you do that. As a matter of fact, my Apple Watch reminds me when I have to, in this time, Emil, you need to breathe, and then I take a minute and then you can let it go with your mouth. You can let it go, however you want. Those are that they really helped me so much. Like when I wanted to scream, I remember that when I was basically told from the hospital staff in Puerto Rico that I had to go because a patient next to my dad's was positive for COVID, and I had to go. My dad had to go in the bubble, and that was the last time I saw him. I had a feeling that was going to be the last time. So when my brother and my mom Nadia picked me up at the hospital, and I just sat in the car, and I couldn't speak. And Nadia, ever so wise, she said, let her, give her a minute. And I was just breathing because all I wanted to do was scream, kick, yell, say all kinds of expletives. I was just so upset. But breathing was what got me through that moment before I could actually speak and kind of understand that so it is, that is what happened. That's it. There's nothing I can do about it. I just have to surrender that moment. Which takes me to the number three, which is surrendering. That is the hardest thing, surrendering. But once you kind of, I mean, I had to understand that there's last year, obviously, everybody went through COVID stuff. It was so out of whack year, a year that we all lost control. I mean, we had no control. The only thing we could do was stay home, stay put, and pray that everything will eventually go back to normal, whatever normal is anymore. But, surrendering to that, surrendering to the process. My business got such a hit um, last year. We had to do so many refunds, and there were so many people upset at us, and we failed miserably. I had, personal issues, obviously, all that stuff going on. So many deaths in the family, and my support system was gone. And I have to say that uh, surrendering, whenever somebody said, "Oh, I'm upset. This is not fast enough. I want my money back." I'm like, okay. Most of the times I didn't even argue. I just gave it back. And of course, the financial impact was huge. And the funny thing is that it was the best sales wise uh, because people couldn't go to court, and our business has been divorcing Florida online. That's what we do. We've been doing it for years. But people were actually looking for that solution, and we had the solution implemented. But all the losses, personal losses that I had, and the thing is that there's three of us in the office. There's me, my daughter, and another person. The only other person that was not affected emotionally was this other staff member, and he's the newest guy in the town. Like he's new, he doesn't, I couldn't just walk away from the business and say, hey, Ian, here, handle this. I couldn't do that. So, my daughter and I were in the midst of, both of us were in mourning and all that. So, it was very difficult to stay on top of everything. But now Ian is trained. Now anything happens, so what I learned from that is that I needed to make sure that I had systems in place that if something happens to me, somebody else can take over. So my goal for upcoming is that I add one more person that's not family, so if anything else happens, we have somebody else also working with us, and that will be actually very soon, because we're adding another product to what we do. So we're very excited about that as well. So, we have, um, we're working on expanding and having more staff, more support, but and at the same time make sure that we're not in that position again. So with everything that happened, once I surrendered to it and I said, okay, I give you your money back. I'm so sorry. I give you your money back. I'm so sorry. In dealing with the backslash, of course, of getting the bad reviews, and then surrendering to the process, knowing that, okay, Yamil, it's okay. In the beginning, you didn't have any reviews. Now you have a mix of bad and good reviews. All the bad reviews are recent, but there's plenty of old reviews that are great. And then now it's matter, okay, so now what we have to do, and then get the new reviews from the new people that are happy and blah blah blah. And now the courts are like cooperating versus there was a lot of chaos in the courthouse. And I mean, there were a lot of business stuff that I had to do, but surrendering is what got me through that. Same thing with my mom, losing my dad, surrendering, losing my cousin, surrendering, losing, getting separated from my husband, surrendering, moving, surrendering, just surrendering to the process. When I moved, I'm now living in the house of my dreams. Okay. And I, through all that, in between mom dying, dad dying, I moved into the house of my dreams because my husband and I separated. I was denied from 4 different places, which were not what I really wanted, which was not, this house was not, the what I wanted in a house was in my vision board for years, a couple of years before I actually moved in here. And the places that I got denied from were not that. They were not in my vision board. The one that finally got approved was in my vision board. And it was very stressful trying to deal with all of that stuff at the same time as looking for a place and getting denied over and over again until I found this one. I'm like, there's no way that I'm going to be able to get this one. 5 bedrooms, 2,400 square feet, 2 floors, even to the point that the laundry room is on the second floor. To the T, everything, lake on the back. So when I feel gloom or whatever, I can go sit by the water. I'm a water person. I need to have water near me to feel good. Sometimes I put my yoga mat by the lake, and I'm living in a perfect place. I've been around here many times. Great neighborhood, everything. And I mean, it came through a lot of, in the middle of everything going rough, I got this gift. But I can tell you that it happened, right at the moment that I needed the most, that I needed to rest. But it happened when I surrendered. Once the last place didn't work out, and then, somebody told me, do this, to come here. And then I was like, she's like, just trust me, just do it. And then even the guy, the realtor that rented the house is like, don't worry, you got this. Why are you so afraid? Because I was waiting for him to say, no, I'm not renting to you. But here I am, and I'm being super blessed, and my kids are super blessed. But it happened when I surrendered. So those are the 3 things. Number one, some kind of movement. Get your head out of the gutter. If you need to, just move. Dance, do yoga, do running, do walking, do whatever, but just move, and it was just change the atmosphere. And then number 2 is to breathe. Just truly learn to breathe deep. Close your eyes, even for a minute. It will make a huge difference. And number 3, definitely surrender to whatever it's going on. If it's your husband, you guys are going through a breakup or maybe considering it, you know just surrender to whatever it is. He wants to get divorced and you don't want to get divorced, just surrender to it. Trust me, you can't make someone stick around if they don't want to stick around. And if they stick around because they're afraid that you're going to hurt yourself or you're just not stable, it's a pity thing, and it's not going to last, and you're going to be so sorry that you didn't surrender to that, and so sorry that you didn't let go, of that person or that situation. Okay, if something happens and you lost a job, surrender, let it go. Say, okay, then God, I don't know, I have no idea how, but I know you're going to do something amazing. When I was getting all those chargebacks, I surrendered to the process. I said, okay, I have no idea how I'm going to pay the light, or how I'm going to pay this, or I'm going to pay that, and somehow it always came through. So surrender that you're taken care of. Understand that there are angels out there, and there's God, and and whatever you want to believe in, Gaia, whatever you want to believe in, the universe, you are being supported. You're being supported incredibly. Just the fact that you're watching this video is a show of force that you have been supported. All right. So please comment down below if what is your favorite way of dealing with, um, of feeling better, of doing self-care. These are very simple. I have a gazillion others, but these are like things that anybody can implement in their life right now, today, and start feeling better, lower their anxiety, lower their depression. You know, I believe that you will have incredible miracles coming your way if you do any of those three things. If you do all three of them, absolutely 100% expect your life to start changing and things to start moving in a way that you're like, this is a God thing. There's no way this happened. All right. And I love you so much. I thank you for watching this video. Hit the subscribe button, destroy that like button if you like the message that I'm bringing here in this channel. And I love you, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.